Morning. In Paris, the world-famous Louvre Museum remains closed after a daytime theft of precious jewels. And in recent months, Americans have seen tariffs on many products they use every day, including their morning brew.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday to you, Mountain family. I'm Amelia Lee here on this October 21st. We are just about at 5 o'clock this morning, and it's time for meteorologist Megan Dusmall to give us a look at that forecast. And Megan, I feel like I can hear it in my voice at least, those allergies from this mishmash of weather.
Yeah, I know. It's really kicking me as well. My throat's been really dry. It's just that time of year, unfortunately. And yeah, that cold front coming through this past weekend did not help with that at all. And I mean, if you take a look at temperatures today, it's kind of a different story as we go throughout the next several hours. This morning, we're kind of seeing some 50 chances, so definitely warmer as compared to yesterday. 50 degrees right now in Hazard, 51 in Jackson, 60 even in Monticello, Somerset's at 54, and then cooler temperatures more for our Virginia counties, looking at 36 degrees in Jonesville and Grundy. So definitely a cooler start to your day. This afternoon, though, will definitely be warmer as we get into the upper 60s and low 70s. But don't worry, Amelia, I know you're thinking about it. There's another little cold front coming through. Temperatures will dip very slightly tomorrow, so we're going to get back down to some low 60s. And thankfully, we'll stay nice and dry with just a little bit of clouds and a slight chance for some showers in the forecast. Amelia.
Thanks, Megan. Police arrested a man they say was planning to open fire with an assault rifle at the world's busiest airport. Surveillance video shows law enforcement moving in on 49-year-old Billy Joe Cagel as he arrived at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Police received a warning about Cagel from a family member. He's facing multiple charges. In Paris, the world-famous Louvre Museum remained closed for a second day as police and security experts investigated the daring daytime theft of precious jewels over the weekend. The thieves parked a mobile ladder against the Louvre wall Sunday morning. Police say they broke a window and went straight to the Apollo Gallery, where France's crown jewels are on display. It took just minutes and a circular saw to steal 9 priceless objects.
They chose this room because it was close to a window. They chose these jewels because they figured that they could break them apart, take out the settings, take out the diamonds and the sapphires and the emeralds.
Tourists were inside at the time of the heist, but no one was injured. The Vice President and Second Lady are in Israel today. The trip comes as the fragile peace deal that President Donald Trump spearheaded appears to have survived a weekend of violence. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told his parliament that the two will meet and talk about religion, regional security issues, and political opportunities. Both sides have blamed each other for breaching the peace. The president threatened to eradicate Hamas if the group does not, quote, behave.
We made a deal with Hamas that, they're going to be very good, they're going to behave, they're going to be nice, and if they're not, we're going to go and we're going to eradicate them.
The White House has not given much guidance on the vice president's trips to Israel, though an Israeli government spokesperson indicated that he could be in the region for a few days. In other news, aid trucks have resumed in Gaza following a brief pause. A Senate vote again failed to end the government shutdown, which is now entering day 21. This as federal workers overseeing the nation's nuclear arsenal are now officially furloughed. Today, Republican senators are set to have lunch with the president at the White House Rose Garden. Bradley Blackburn has the details.
For not having voted in the affirmative, the motion is not agreed to.
It was the 11th time senators have failed to pass a bill to end the government shutdown, and neither side is budging.
We're not going to negotiate on anything until Democrats stop holding government funding hostage.
Our country is staring down the barrel of a healthcare catastrophe.
Yesterday, the Department of Energy pulled the plug on thousands of workers, furloughing 80% of staff overseeing the nation's nuclear stockpile. Fewer than 400 workers remain on the job.
We need to take that deathly serious. We've never had to furlough workers in this area before.
Across the country, states are warning the shutdown could freeze SNAP food benefits. In Colorado, the governor's office says some 600,000 people, half of them children, may be impacted by November 1st. food banks are already stretched.
For every single meal a food bank provides, SNAP provides 9.
Senate Democrats are dug in with their demand to extend health care subsidies. Today, Senate Republicans will have lunch with President Trump at the White House, where smaller funding bills could be on the table to pay some federal workers like active duty military. Speaker Mike Johnson says he'd bring the House back to vote if it passes the Senate.
Yes, I don't have any faith that they're going to pass it, though. I think they're going to continue to play games.
The shutdown is now the third longest in the nation's history. The last one during Trump's first term stretched for 35 days. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Yesterday, the Secretary of Transportation warned in an interview that more travel disruptions are possible as air traffic controllers continue working without pay. He suggested some are working food delivery and ride-sharing jobs to try to pay those bills. In recent months, Americans have seen tariffs on many products they use every day. Now your morning cup of joe could get a bit more expensive with tariffs now impacting those coffee shops. At the Bean Shack in Hindman, the average cup of coffee can cost anywhere between $6.50 up to around $9. But owner Amanda Thacker Gibson says they're doing what they can to not increase prices for customers.
We've almost increased $4 a bag on what we're paying per bag. So when you look at it from that sense, it's pretty dramatic already. And like I said, we have been able to eat the cost on it for now. But yes, if that continues to go up, we will definitely have to look at increasing prices on our end to be able to stay open.
She says as a small local business, it can be difficult with those increasing prices, but she's dedicated to serving her communities in both Hindman and McDowell. Kentucky has not carried out an execution in nearly 2 decades, but some believe it's time to change that. As we've reported recently, State Senator Brandon Smith is asking Governor Beshear to sign a death warrant in a decades-old case. WYMT's Caroline Mueller spoke with him and a Commonwealth attorney who says the state should be ready to resume executions.
Senator Brandon Smith represents the 30th District, where a man convicted of killing a sheriff and deputy more than 30 years ago is still on death row. He says the families have waited long enough for justice, and state prosecutors believe the legal roadblocks that halted executions have been cleared. For more than 3 decades, the case of Ralph Bays has been tied up in appeals. He was convicted of killing Powell County Sheriff Stephen Bennett and Deputy Arthur Briscoe in 1992 and sentenced to death. Now, State Senator Brandon Smith says it is time to carry out that sentence.
It affects my district, and I've got very, very close friends of mine who this was their family. And so this gentleman who committed these terrible acts, he's had every appeals exhausted. He's gone through the entire process for 30 years. Everyone has looked at this and said guilty, 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 and that's simply timed out.
Smith sent a letter to Governor Andy Beshear asking for 3 things. To say the victims' names, show that the state has requested the execution drugs, and say whether he would sign a death warrant if presented with one.
And these are not difficult things. He could do that in 5 minutes standing here in front of you.
Ronnie Bowling, president of the Commonwealth's Attorneys Association, says the legal hold that stopped executions years ago no longer applies.
Now that the Department of Corrections has updated their protocols and has given assurances that the access to the necessary drugs and the lethal injection can be acquired, there is no bar. That was the bar for executions.
Kentucky's last execution was in 2008, and that inmate requested it. 2 years later, a Franklin Circuit Court judge issued a moratorium after questions were raised about the drugs used for lethal injection and whether they violated the Constitution's ban on cruel and unusual punishment.
I think the position now of the pro-death penalty advocates, our association, Senator Smith, General Coleman, is that those policies and moratorium have been complied with, so lethal injection is a valid penalty prescribed by law, and executions can resume.
Opponents of the death penalty say the state's moratorium should stay in place, citing cost, lengthy appeals, and the risk of wrongful execution. But supporters argue Kentucky's system has never been stronger or more thorough, and that families who have waited decades deserve closure. Now back to you.
Senator Smith says he plans to keep pressing the issue until the governor takes action. And we did reach out to the governor's office for comment yesterday afternoon, but have not yet heard back. However, we did get a statement from the Kentucky Coalition to abolish the death penalty. It reads in part, quote, "The death penalty has no place in a commonwealth that we can all be proud of." Kentucky has gone over 10 years without a new death sentence handed down and over 15 years without an execution. During that same time frame, we've seen violent crime rates lowering nationwide and in our state. The rest of that statement can be found in this story on our website, WYMT.com. Well, thank you so much for getting your day started with us on Mountain News this morning at 5:09. According to a new study, although food allergies continue to rise, peanut allergies in children have plummeted. That's coming up.
And we are tracking earlier and earlier sunsets and sunrises. More information coming up.
Gear up for Spook